The milk you drink every day, does it actually come from a cow? Or does it come from a mechanical system quietly operating behind the scenes that you've never seen? China is already renowned for its robotics industry, but when these machines enter agriculture, everything doesn't just change. It is being completely rewritten. Welcome back to Massive Tech. In this video, you will discover 5 technologies that have completely transformed Chinese agriculture and find the answer to the question, is the food you eat still as natural as you think? Find out in part 3. But before that, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any notifications from Massive Tech. If you still think of agriculture as muddy boots, farmers hunched under the sun, and noisy diesel tractors, then you are likely looking at a world that has begun to grow obsolete. Because in China, there are fields where, standing in the middle, you can barely hear a human voice. No shouting to one another, no roaring engines, only the steady, almost cold sound of a series of electric motors operating with rhythmic precision. And when you look closer, you will realize something strange. There is no driver. These machines, such as the ET1004-N Autonomous Rice Transplanter, 2025 upgraded version, move, align, and plant each seedling into the ground in perfect straight lines, as if drawn by a ruler. Looking down from above, the entire field resembles a giant circuit board where every trace is arranged with near absolute precision. A single machine can plant thousands of seedlings per hour. But the real story isn't about speed, it is about stability. A human can work fast for 1 hour, then slow down in the second. Fatigue, errors, crooked rows. But these machines do not. They maintain the same pace from the first hour to the 12th. No deviation, no rest, no emotion. And in agriculture, that stability is money. Just a few centimeters of misalignment, uneven spacing between plants, or suboptimal distribution of light and nutrients, and yield can drop significantly. What the human eye might miss, the harvest does not. So how are these machines so accurate? The answer is RTK, real-time kinematic, a positioning system with a margin of error of only about 2 centimeters. Combined with AI and 5G, every movement of the machine is not just precise, it is adjusted in real time. No soil is wasted, no rows are crooked, nearly 100% of the area is utilized effectively. And this is where everything becomes clearer. When these systems are deployed on a large scale, rice yields in many testing areas have increased from around 6 to 7 tons per hectare to 8 to 9 tons per hectare, a nearly 20 to 30% increase. Not because of a new seed variety, but because of more precise planting. To put it simply, it's as if you aren't planting more trees, but each tree produces more grains, more evenly, with less waste. Meanwhile, in the West, especially the U.S. wheat agriculture, has been mechanized for a long time, with average yields of about 3 to 4 tons per hectare, depending on the region. These massive machines can handle enormous areas, but they have yet to fully leverage the potential of micro-optimization, as China has with rice. If technologies like RTK, AI, and full automation were applied more deeply into Western agricultural systems, where the foundation of mechanization has existed for decades, yields could easily be pushed to 5 to 6 tons per hectare, or even higher under optimal conditions. In other words, the West has the foundation, China is optimizing the system, and when agriculture becomes a data problem, then these fields are no longer places for growing rice. They are outdoor food factories, where every grain of rice is created by an algorithm, not by experience. And if you think the story ends with autonomous transplanters, the truth is that it is only the beginning. Because what is emerging next is no longer just a single machine, but a robotic platform that can switch roles according to the needs of the entire field. Imagine an autonomous electric vehicle that, instead of performing just one task, can transform into various types of machinery simply by swapping its toolkit, spraying in the morning, seeding at noon, and by the end of the day, becoming a transport vehicle for agricultural products. All of this happens on a single system without any human operator, and that is exactly how the XAG R150 was designed. This means you no longer need 3 different types of machines or 3 separate operation teams. You only need a single platform that can adapt to every stage of the crop season. And when scaled up to dozens or even hundreds of devices operating simultaneously, the field begins to function as a synchronized system rather than a series of fragmented tasks as before. Behind that capability is the combination of RTK positioning with 5G network infrastructure and AI that processes data by the second, allowing each machine not only to know its exact location, but also to understand the entire surrounding context to continuously adjust its behavior. In other words, the farmer only needs to press the start button. The rest, from spraying and planting to maneuvering, is handed over to the robots. No constant supervision, no manual intervention, no dependence on experience. And that is exactly why when the XAG R150 was first announced, many people did not believe what they were hearing. A machine that can do all those things? Self-operating? Self-adapting? It sounded more like an advertisement than a real product. But it has proven to have incredible real-world performance. If multiple robots like this start working together, automatically dividing zones, avoiding collisions, and optimizing their own paths, you will realize that this is no longer just a tool to assist humans. This is a new era of future agriculture. Back to the original question, and are you certain the milk you drink every day actually comes from a cow? Because when images of robotic cows first surfaced, many were led to believe this was technology replacing live cattle or even the production of synthetic food. But the reality is entirely different. Those cows are not cows at all. They are AI-powered quadruped reconnaissance robots, similar to the Unitree B1 series originally developed for military applications, patrolling, scouting, and gathering data in hostile environments. And while they aren't directly used in farming, their existence proves a critical point. Robotics has reached a level where machines can move with animal-like fluidity, sensing their surroundings and processing data in real time. In actual agriculture, China doesn't use these robotic dogs. They've built a different system, less sensational, but far more effective. These are automated milking robots, such as the Lily Astronaut, a 5 system, where each cow is identified by an RFID chip. They move into the milking station voluntarily, and the entire process is governed by sensors, monitoring milk flow, quality, and even body temperature or activity levels. If a cow's yield drops unexpectedly, the system knows. If her body temperature rises slightly, the system alerts. There is no need to wait for visible symptoms. Everything is detected at the subclinical stage. Parallel to this, agricultural drones hover above the fields, using multispectral cameras to see what the human eye cannot, identifying water-stressed crops, biological stress, or early-stage infections. And beneath the surface, there is another layer of systems you never see. Sensors buried directly in the soil continuously measure moisture, nutrients, pH, and microbial activity, feeding data into an AI that decides exactly when to irrigate or fertilize. Not a minute early, not a minute late. They don't have the flashy look of a 4-legged robot. They don't create viral internet clips. But these are the systems silently driving the industry from behind the curtain. Every cow is a data stream. Every meter of soil is a data point. Every decision is calculated before a human even realizes there's a problem. And when you piece it all together, a very different picture emerges. This is no longer agriculture in the traditional sense. This is a comprehensive biological surveillance system where every living factor is monitored, analyzed, and optimized continuously, much like a factory tracking its assembly lines. Except here, the subjects are living organisms. If you thought autonomous fields were the final frontier, there is something else, quieter, yet it reveals most clearly how agriculture is being redefined from the inside out. In Fujian Province, China, a robot called the FJ Smart Field Robot, FJ-SFR 2025, is working in an environment that humans, given the choice, would avoid at all costs. 35 degrees Celsius heat, ankle-deep mud, slippery terrain, where every single mistake could cost an entire harvest. But for this machine, those are just standard operating conditions. No cabin for protection, no cooling system for an operator, because there is no operator. It is simply a sealed, fully waterproof chassis moving slowly but steadily across soaked fields. Each wheel is designed not to sink, each movement is calculated not to disturb the soil structure, and every task is performed with a level of precision that humans find nearly impossible to maintain over long periods. It weeds not by clearing out everything, but by precisely removing only the unnecessary plants without disturbing the surrounding ecosystem. It fertilizes not by spreading evenly, but by distributing nutrients based on specific zones and density requirements, all guided by real-time data. And most importantly, it observes. High-resolution camera systems combined with AI allow this robot to do more than just see the rice. It understands its status, from leaf color and growth rates to the minute signs of biological stress that the human eye seldom catches until it's far too late. In other words, it's not just working, it is analyzing life. With its pre-programmed routines, this machine can handle about 1 hectare per day, roughly 2.5 acres. That number might sound ordinary until you compare it to a real human working in those same conditions. A farmer under a 40°C sun will begin to slow down after just a few hours. Their pace drops with every heavy step through the mud, their concentration wavers, and small errors begin to creep in. Errors that, if repeated enough, can jeopardize the entire crop. But this machine does not. It maintains the same speed from the first minute to the last. It is tireless, unwavering, and has no concept of having a bad day. It has no limit to its patience. When you scale that to dozens or hundreds of robots working across a single field, a quiet but monumental shift begins to occur. The field no longer runs on a human biological rhythm. It runs on the rhythm of the system, more stable, predictable, and almost completely devoid of randomness. This is the point most people miss. Robots aren't just replacing labor. They are changing the very nature of the production environment. Areas once considered too harsh, too dependent on subjective experience, or too difficult to standardize, and are now becoming ideal environments for machines, places where everything can be controlled, measured, and optimized to the smallest detail. Mud is no longer an obstacle. High temperatures are no longer a limit. Repetitive labor is no longer a burden. When the factors that once challenged humans become advantages for robots, a completely new logic takes hold. Agriculture is no longer being designed around humans. It is being designed around machines. Not to help humans work better, but so the system can operate at its peak with or without us. This is the most remarkable shift of all. For thousands of years, agriculture was the industry that forced humans to adapt to nature. But now, with machines like these, nature is being adjusted to fit the systems we create. Less risk, less volatility, efficiencies. But the most remarkable thing isn't a machine or even a single field, but an idea steadily becoming reality: agriculture that can exist without the very soil that has sustained it for thousands of years. In Shanghai and many other major metropolises, vertical farming models are being deployed. Crops are no longer spread across the ground, but stacked floor by floor, layer by layer, in fully controlled indoor environments. While not always the 20-story towers we might imagine, these multi-level systems operate 24/7, much like a modern food production line. There, soil is no longer a requirement. Roots are nourished directly in nutrient solutions via hydroponic systems, where every component from water and minerals to trace elements is precisely calculated. This eliminates dependence on natural soil quality, a variable that has always been difficult to control in traditional farming. Light doesn't come from the sun, but from LED strips fine-tuned to each stage of plant growth. Intensity and wavelengths are adjusted to maximize photosynthesis, while temperature and humidity are continuously monitored to maintain a near-ideal environment, free from rain, drought, and unexpected weather shifts. When you can grow food vertically in the heart of the city, You no longer need distant fields. You no longer depend on logistics chains stretching hundreds of kilometers, and you no longer accept losses during transport. Food can be produced right where it is consumed, fresher, faster, and more efficient. Looking deeper into how these systems operate reveals a fundamental shift. In traditional agriculture, humans work with nature, trying to adapt to what they cannot control. In this model, every condition is redesigned from scratch. From light, water, and nutrients to the environment itself, everything is continuously adjusted based on real-time data, with the sole goal of achieving the highest and most stable performance possible. The result is a system almost entirely devoid of unexpected variables. No dependence on seasons, no impact from weather, no waiting as traditional agriculture is always required. A building in the middle of a city can become a food source. An industrial zone can produce vegetables like it produces components. Even places once deemed uncultivable, deserts, frozen regions, or cramped urban areas can now become a part of the supply chain. To date, with high-tech and automated agricultural models deployed at scale, agricultural yields in many regions have recorded an average increase of approximately 10 to 20% per year, particularly in areas utilizing AI, robotics, and precision farming. In Shanghai, multi-level vertical farming models produce approximately 2 million vegetable plants per year within a closed space significantly smaller than traditional farming, yet maintaining near absolute stability in every cycle. Beyond domestic supply, these high-tech agricultural products, from clean vegetables, tomatoes, and strawberries to controlled environment crops, are being exported to Japan, South Korea, and parts of Europe, where standards rely not only on quality, but also on the consistency between batches. And it is with these specific crops that the difference becomes clear. Products that once depended on weather and soil can now achieve 30 to 50% higher yields while maintaining consistent quality between harvests. More stable output, lower volatility, significantly reduced risk. Meanwhile, in many other parts of the world, agriculture continues to face heavy pressure from natural factors. In the US, states like California and Texas are constantly facing prolonged droughts, reducing yields and driving up production costs. In Latin America, countries like Cuba are struggling with salinization and land degradation, leading to decreased productivity and increasing reliance on imports. In Europe, energy fluctuations and regional conflicts also directly impact agricultural costs and output. When placing these two pictures side by side, the contrast is stark. One side remains dependent on natural conditions. The other is gradually controlling them through technology. As agriculture enters a phase where stability becomes more important than raw yield, systems capable of control, expansion, and rapid adaptation will gradually gain the upper hand. The advantage will belong to the systems that create stability. Would you dare step onto this 5G-powered tractor with no steering wheel? Or do you trust human experience more? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and let's start the discussion. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Massive Minds to explore the technologies changing the future of the world. See you in the next video.